Good morning, everyone. I sincerely hope this video finds you well. I am pretty excited for this, actually, because this is going to be the last installment in the anti-nutrient series that I'm planned anyway. Who knows, more anti-nutrients might come up. As you probably figured out from the title, today we're going to be talking about tannins, and I have a beautiful glass of iced white tea here that is quite rich in tannins. I can tell because there's a little bit of a bitter and astringent taste to this. It actually makes my mouth feel a little bit more dry than it was before I drank it. This tea is also a fairly dark color, and the coloring and the astringent, slightly bitter taste are some telltale signs that a food is rich in tannins. But before I get too far ahead of myself, first of all, what are tannins? Why, they're water-soluble polyphenols that are part of the immune system of plants. Because of this, tannins tend to concentrate in the most vulnerable parts of plants, like the new shoots and the leaves and the very inner bark, to dissuade predators from consuming or over-consuming those vulnerable, necessary parts of the plant. On a standard Western diet, the most common sources of tannins are coffee, tea, wine, especially wine that has been aged in oak barrels, and beer. But tannins are also abundant in berries and nuts and seeds and a lot of legumes, as well as chocolate, pomegranate, certain fruit juices, and several colors of food dyes. Tannins are known to be an anti-nutrient because they can interfere with mineral absorption, inhibit digestive enzymes, and cause protein aggregation, which is a fancy term that means that it makes amino acids clump together so that they can't be digested and utilized in the body. There's also been some interesting research done in parts of the world where tannin-rich foods like betel nut are chewed and held in the mouth for a long period of time. People who do that are known to have much higher rates of cheek and esophageal cancers, though it is not clear if it is actually the tannin content of the betel nut or if it is another compound that is causing that increased risk in cancer. There's also been some interesting research looking at people who consume very large quantities of mate. This study found a dose-dependent relationship with mate with increased risks of certain types of digestive tract cancers. And so, again, as it has been with essentially all of the anti-nutrients that we have talked about, the dose makes the poison. Do we need to be concerned about consuming large, concentrated and chronic sources of tannins? Yes, absolutely. We need to be concerned about that. We need to be wise about our tannin consumption. I personally believe that it's very wise to be aware of sources of tannins in your diet. This is especially so for those of us who have started to take on traits of a wackadoodle type diet. I'm talking to you, people who read about how good tea is for you and so you started brewing your morning tea with 72 tea bags. I'm talking to you, natural herbal medicine people who read about how great certain forms of tree bark are and now you're drinking tea from it 18 times a day to reduce the amount of inflammation in your body. And I'm definitely talking to you, people who live off cacao and superfoods. Step away from your baggie of powder, earthling. Please, you guys, just eat actual food in reasonable quantities. Please, I'm begging you. Actually made myself tear up a little bit with that one. Also, if you are someone like me who gets their minerals from whole plant foods, it would be wise of you to be aware of overlapping your tannin-rich foods with mineral-rich foods. Now, certainly we do not have to get obsessive about this, but I know that this cup of tea is a pretty gosh darn good source of tannins. And so I know that if I drink that tea with a very mineral-rich meal, the tannins are going to block a good portion of those minerals from being absorbed. But I have read all of the research and I know that drinking a little bit of white or green tea every day is great for me, so I like to make it part of my daily ritual. And so I prevent the tannins in that tea from blocking the minerals that my body needs by simply drinking my tea about an hour before I have breakfast or 2 hours after I have a meal. Generally speaking, I am a pre-breakfast tea kind of girl because it also does contain some caffeine, and I don't like being awake in the middle of the night. Maybe that's just me. Also, it kind of pays to make sure that the fruit that you're eating is ripe, which can be a little bit harder than it sounds since so much of the fruit that we get in our grocery stores and such is picked when it is not yet ripe. I know that I have had the experience of biting into an apple and instead of being juicy and delicious and sweet, it's a little bit astringent and bitter and it gives me dry mouth. That's because that apple was picked a little bit early and it is still pretty darn rich in tannins. I've also had that experience when eating red grapes, star fruit off of my tree if it's still green. No, it doesn't taste good because it's still rich in those plant protective tannins. But even with those simple and easy to implement tips, it is still not possible to avoid 100% of the tannins found in plant foods, and you really don't want to, I don't think, because been looking at the research all week, there is tons of evidence to suggest that tannins are another one of these amazing polyphenols that has the capacity to be tumor cell specific in its negative effects. So what that means is that study after study after study has found that there has either been no effect or no negative effect on normal, non-cancerous human cells, but when cancerous human cells are exposed to tannins, the tannins have the ability to induce apoptosis or cell death or otherwise inhibit the growth or development of that tumor. And so, as with all of these anti-nutrients that we have talked about over the last several weeks, certainly let's be aware of and wise about these anti-nutrients, but also we do not need to stress out or go crazy in trying to avoid these anti-nutrients because so many of them also have extremely protective properties. And of course, as we have seen over and over and over again with these protective compounds, they are not made to work in isolation. They are made to interact synergistically with a myriad of known and as of yet unknown plant chemicals that are found in plant foods, whole plant foods, and so we will be best served by consuming them in the state in which our bodies are used to them, in non-insane quantities of actual food. Okay? So eat some whole plant foods, don't drink bog water, and you should be fine. And I know what you're thinking, you're like, who would ever drink bog water? But I had the same thought the first time I heard about a ketogenic diet, and everybody's doing it. A diet that says bacon and lard are health foods? Everybody would know better. Turns out not. Don't drink bog water? Duh. I'm not so sure anymore, y'all. I'm not so sure. Okay, so there is my beautiful breakfast, and I have already had a few bites of it because I already filmed this, except with the microphone off, so take two. I have about 1/3 of a cup of rolled oats that I soaked this morning with a little bit of warm water. Then I have my standard bananas on top, probably, gosh, I think it was about 6 of the real small bananas, so maybe the equivalent of like 1.5 big bananas. I have about I would say another 1/3 of a cup of blueberries in there, which are nice and tannin rich if I do say so myself, and then a little bit of white pineapple. Just gonna finish that off. My neighbor gave it to me the other day and it is so freaking sweet. Also quite acidic though. And then I have some pumpkin seeds thrown on top and a little blob of blackstrap molasses for my minerals. And like I said earlier, I am wise about mixing my tannin intake with my mineral-rich foods. I finished my white tea about an hour ago, and so that has passed through my digestive system. I'm now ready to consume these mineral-rich foods, but I do have a little bit of tannin-rich blueberries, and I'm just not gonna stress out about it, because like I've been fine for the last 10 years. I'm going to continue to be fine. There is absolutely no evidence to suggest that I'm having any problem with getting too little minerals or too many tannins in my diet. All right, so I'm gonna scarf this down pretty fast, and then I have to run out and do a ton of errands because y'all, there is some stuff about to go down on the Big Island. You better keep your eyes peeled. I'll keep you informed as I can, but shit's about to get real and I gotta go buy some band-aids to prepare. I'm gonna need a lot of band-aids. And I will see you guys the next time I consume sustenance. Planning on lunch. Lunchtime would be good. Errands were successful. I got another 50 pounds of oats for our household. And then I also went and I gave some blood for a research project that's happening through my health insurance providers, because as much as I rely on scientific research for getting information about what kind of diet and lifestyle is healthiest, I also think it's awesome to be able to participate in that kind of research. And over the course of however long I'm a member with my particular health insurance provider, they will be taking blood samples from me and doing dietary questionnaires to determine my overall health and well-being with the food choices that I'm making. And so the intention is that over the years, I will contribute some to the evidence base of what kind of dietary pattern is healthiest, or at least adequately healthy, to promote good human health throughout the lifespan. And of course, I hope that I'm doing the right thing, but being part of this research project will help determine that. I will try to contribute to the greater good, whether I am right or dead wrong, so to speak. And it is officially a little bit past lunchtime, and it is officially 8,000 degrees outside. I am quite toasty, thus the swimsuit in the house. So I am really looking forward to this nice cooling lunch. I have leftover salad from last night and then a lot of chickpeas on top with some of the chickpea cook fluid. It's nice and cold from the fridge. It feels so good. I also have just a tiny bit of white rice and a little bit of marinated tofu that I will be enjoying as well, and this will be a perfect size lunch for me. Help cool me off. Be so good. And right now I am sweating underneath this tape, so I genuinely need to get this off. It hurts so bad. Ow! Ouch. Okay. And I will see you guys for dinner. There is my gorgeous dinner. I have a beautiful miso stir fry, some black beans that I defrosted a few minutes ago, and some poi taro that has been boiled and steamed combo. And then I put some furikake, a seaweed mixture, on top of there, a little pinch of kelp powder for some iodine. And this will be everything that I ate today. I hope you all have enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the entire anti-nutrient series, and you've learned a lot, and you feel really prepared and able to create a super healthy, sustainable, plant-based diet for your amazing selves, because you gotta make better choices for yourself. No one is going to do it for you, and you have to take really, really good care. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys soon. Bye. Just kidding. It's so hot. I decided I needed some banana ice cream. Made it with a little bit of cacao powder and almond milk. I put some goji berries and walnuts on top, and this is going to be perfect. Maybe it will help me stop sweating because I can't stop sweating. So after this, that will be everything that I ate today. Dude, I sweated so much today that I got sweat pools under my butt cheeks. Through my pants.
It's into your pants?
Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking with pants today. Eat some tannins.